Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm here with the Wolf, and this is just a general share advice and not a personal advice. Wolfie. The market's crashing, capitulating. Luckily for Equity Story, we told the world that on television a few weeks ago. So looks like we're right so far this year with what's going on. But the big question is, Wolf, right?
Yes.
Is where are we going for the next year and a half? Now, and before we start, can we go back to the Second World War?
We can.
Right.
Because good example, right?
So, Wolf, what you got here is this massive post-crash rally, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so let's try and put this in our time, because we do stupid things like that. And we've had a post-pandemic rally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's interesting is, before obviously the war started in 1939, the market could see, obviously there was recession, deflation returning, and you see the market started to go down. So we've got a little bit of that at the moment, haven't we? Sort of interest rates going up, but possibly recession coming in America. So there's obviously reasons that basically this could happen. And over that period of time, the market roughly went down around 50%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a war. So actually, we had a little bit of a rally into war. When the Germans started winning, it went back down.
Dave, that rally could be on the back of some, the companies that possibly were supplying weapons and all, just like we're having right now. We've got a lot of companies supplying the same stuff, right?
Interesting, and we'll talk about that in a second. And
the war story did the rallying for everyone.
And then Germany starts winning a bit, and Pearl Harbor goes down. But as soon as the Allies started winning, the market started rallying higher. So you can see, if this war develops stronger and it gets more aggressive and there's more countries involved, the markets could potentially move really depend on who's winning and who's making gains. But that's something maybe in the future, Wolf. But at the moment, markets are going down, right? We're going down.
I think where we are at the moment. We're at where it says German victories, we're at the Russian victories. That's where we're at the moment. That's, I think, where I see us market-wise, and I'm thinking if this drags on more, we're going to see a probably Coral Sea Midway type scenario.
Well, Wolf, I think we're here, right? I think here. Because I don't think we're in that war section yet, unfortunately, right?
Well, aren't we in part of the war yet? I think we're in the war.
No. The war hasn't really broken out, and this is interesting.
It's just a little skirmish in Ukraine, is it?
It is, compared to what it could be.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get. I don't think it's going to be involved with everyone else. That's why my personal feeling anyway.
Well,
but I could be wrong.
So this morning, you're going, Dave, he wants Lithuania.
Yeah, he does.
Right.
But there's a big if that happens, you pretty much just say goodbye to everyone, because it's going to be all over from everyone, right? I don't think it's going to lead to that. I know there's a lot of talk and posturing and so on. It is scary to think about, right? But
well, I think the problem is that Ukrainians have got 1 million soldiers. They've got the Americans backing them, sending weapons after weapons after weapons. That's not going away. The Brits are sending weapons. This war is going to continue and continue, to the point that I think Putin will lose his temper with it, and maybe do something quite rash, and then suddenly, next thing you know, we do have maybe a third world war on our hands, which I think at the moment, the way he's talking, is highly likely, to be honest.
Look, anything, like I said, I never will rule anything out.
No, Wolf, because you're trained to think in your mind that the world would never do a nuclear war.
Yes.
Right.
Yours would be suicide, right? For anyone, doesn't matter if it's Russia, US.
But if Putin's losing, he's losing anyway, and Russia's dying I don't think they care. They'll let everyone die with them.
You think that is that how that crazy they are over there? I'm not sure. I think they still got a little bit of sanity left.
Well, I'll tell you.
Path.
Well, I think Putin has got a bit of sanity, but I think the people behind Putin haven't.
Maybe.
And
Maybe.
if he's sick and he's injured and he's dead, I think the people behind him are even more dangerous, to be honest with you. So
I think at the end of the day, the Ukraine war is the key to everything that's happening right now. It's the fuel for the big fires that are happening around the globe. That's what I see this Ukraine. And like you said, you could get bigger, right? So you're going to add more fuel to the fire. Maybe more countries joining. Maybe he wants to, take over Lithuania, whatever. That's going to just stoke, like you said, World War III potentially. But I think this is the key. And because we don't know what the end game is, we are in a big flux of the unknown, which is, fueling all this inflation with all these problems and issues. So, yeah, I right now we just don't have any direction, unfortunately, from the war. We just don't know where Putin's going with this.
But one thing is for sure, if you're buying somewhere near the lows and you take a long-term approach, right, you should be okay, because we can see what happened.
Well, unless, like you said, unless everyone uses nuclear weapons, then there's nothing left after this.
Then we gotta. Well, yeah, but I don't think.
I don't think it's going to happen, right? But
I think if he does use nuclear weapons, it'll be tactical. No, I think that's the issue. I don't think he'll drop one. I'd be surprised if he dropped one on the UK or France, or someone could hit him back. But I could see him dropping a nuclear weapon on Ukraine to say, right, this is over now, guys. I'm fed up with it.
Yeah, but there's going to be a payback from everyone else. There's no way you could just sit back, especially if you're Poland. Come on, you can't drop a nuclear and think there's not going to be fallout from Poland or the other nations around.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You're going to sort of start invading.
This is going to be start of the World War III. If you drop on nuclear weapons, there's no one. Everyone's going to sit back and not do anything.
I think
you can't go down that path.
Well, Wolf, I think in life you've got to expect the unexpected.
I know, and that's the scary bit. That is the scary bit. I don't want to think about it because it's just ridiculous, right? Talking about nuclear weapons, talking about war, and so on. But I know it's the reality, possibly, however small chance it is. But let's just leave that.
But anyway, let's look at the positive side. Yeah, how do we make money from the destruction of the planet? Because that's our job, right? So.
Well, look, we did look at the scenarios, like where does the market's going to go down. So let's.
Let's look at
Dave. Can we just pretend that there's going to be a settlement of the war somewhere along the line, right? So how far do we think the market's going to drop, and what sort of stories we should be looking at? Let's go that way. Let's pick a scenario and say there's not going to be an annihilation of the world. There's going to be an end game somewhere along the line.
Okay, so if you compare the fall we had back in 2008,
yes,
similar fall we had back in the Second World War,
one
would expect, and the market's going down, and maybe we're going to go down to 30,000. We could bounce back up to 32, but possibly we're coming down. Things aren't too bad to 26,000 on the Dow, and maybe worst case scenario 20 to 22,000. Yeah.
Yep.
Somewhere around here. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, if you think that's the scenario playing out, for everyone out there who's still got money in the market, is it too late to get out or not?
No, not at all. Yeah. Right. I mean, I think most of our members got a lot of cash anyway, because we've been saying this since the beginning of the year, right?
But there may be some newcomers, right? We've got new people joining us. Is it the questions for them is, should you be picking a bottom? No. Should you be, still holding on? Is it too late to sell some of the dogs? No.
And again, our market, Wolf, the first sort of support you'd be looking for if things get a little bit more hairy is 6,000. And I think, like we spoke about earlier, if we're getting a world recession, and we get a world recession, they're talking that America looks likely to go into recession now. And our commodities do come off the boil. Our commodities are what's really holding us up, correct? possibly then we go lower to maybe that 5,500 level.
If there's a recession, Dave, then doesn't matter how far the commodities have gone. If there's not going to be no demand for
commodities, precisely,
exactly,
right? So
we're going to go down. Yeah.
You've always got the Chinese sort of, I suppose, stimulating, but
They keep stimulating all the time.
Yeah, they stimulate forever, don't they? Really. So, but iron ore might hold up or whatever, right? But you can see, generally speaking, some of the nickels and the sort of leads of the world, and
if anything's going to hold up, the only thing I can think of that's going to hold up is going to be the energy prices, the oil and gas stuff, because that is the key plank of all the sanctions, right? That's where I suppose the Ukraine-Russia has been at, and that's what's been surging over the last 2 months. So I think if you're going to be looking at anything that might hold up best than anything else, it's probably going to be oil and gas.
Right. So, but when we're talking about these levels down here, and these levels could go further. Me and Wolf aren't talking sort of imminently, because we expect bounces. We expect markets to bounce. But what we're expecting is to have a bounce, and then more bad news to come out, and more issues with inflation, more issues with and the biggest issue we've got is the foreign policy that Biden and Johnson have actually put into place. They are determined to back Ukraine to the end. They're sending weapons and weapons and weapons, and they've got a million soldiers. I mean, stick guns and weapons on them and give them some decent support. They're gonna. It's going to be a long war in Ukraine, and I think at the end of the day, this is the worry that Putin just loses his temper and goes, bang, enough's enough.
Yeah. However, I think he's making gains in Donbass, right? So from that point of view, does he stop there or does he keep going? We've had some commentary out of Russia. He was speaking, I think, to some of the students over there.
But Wolf, even if he stops, it doesn't mean the war stops, because Ukraine say we want that back. So, it's just not going to stop.
Yeah, but I think it'll be the lesser of the two evils if it stops at Donbass, where at least maybe with time Ukraine will accept that that's over, right? That Donbass is gone and move on. But the problem is we don't know what the end game for Russia is at the moment. And the problematic thing for me, because I'm avid reader of everything that I see on the news, especially the political and European type stuff that I've been reading recently about Putin. I'm just not convinced that Donbass is the end game. It could go on forever. And this is the problem for me: is if Donbass is not the ends, you are going to see all your scenarios that you've just talked about. We're going to probably see them.
Tommy, does it worry you that the fact that Zelensky, the day before the Russians entered Ukraine, he told the world they were looking to get nuclear weapons?
What? Who? Ukraine?
Yeah, Zelensky, Ukrainian government, the day before Russia went into Ukraine, they said that we're going to be most probably looking to acquire nuclear weapons.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's got probably nothing to do with it now, because there's
yeah, I know, but that doesn't get reported. I mean, it takes two to tango with a lot of these things, Wolf.
Yeah, but I think Russia is dancing to a different tune. That's my key worry, that everyone thinks, Donbass, they just want to get Ukraine, but is it, or is there an ambition even more for Russia? Is he like a Hitler where it's never enough?
Anyway, Wolf, let's look at some stocks which are going to benefit from mankind destroying themselves.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You never know. There might
be.
Oh
my God, this is what a conversation to have first in the morning for everyone. I apologize for that, because it's not something that we want to talk about, but sometimes we just have to, because we just got to get out of our systems and look at the worst case scenarios, right? Because this is what we do.
Because there might be like a little island somewhere that one of our members survives, and they've got some money, and they could go and spend it on. So
right, right. They might still want to trend something.
So NOC, Northrop Grumman Corp, a wonderful company, supplying plenty of weapons to annihilate mankind. So this company could potentially do reasonably well over the next few years, correct?
Yeah, look, as long as the war goes on, I think these companies should do well because they are the supplier of weapon systems.
And the other one is LMT, Lockheed Martin. So two companies in America which are going to obviously help mankind destroy each other. Which so these ones could be interesting, obviously, to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
We have that little Australian one, XTE, and actually holding up quite well, Wolf. And they've had a lot of little bit more risky, obviously a lot more risky this one, but they do a lot of protective clothing for soldiers. So I agree that one you could see potentially over the next year or two getting a lot more orders.
Yeah, it could be a blue chip in a year's time.
Could up with BHP Billings? Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh,
And Woodside, so WDS. Now,
yeah.
you know, a little bit of a sell-off today.
Yeah, but that's what capitulation does, Dave. This is why it's the sign for me personally. I feel like this week could be the start of capitulation. Sometimes a capitulation goes for a few days, sometimes it goes for a few weeks, but it feels like we got the start of it. Everything gets sold off because the oil and gas is actually start strong and actually went up. This is down 5%. You know that across the board, you're just getting out. Investors just said, no, that's enough. We're out.
Obviously, GrainCorp could hold up reasonably well.
Yep.
And our hot stock for this weekend, I think, looking like at the moment one of the best performing stocks on the ASX 200. So, so those are sort of ideas where if you had a longer, to say a 2 or 3 year approach, Wolf, they could do reasonably well.
Yes.
Yep. Apart from that, what other stocks?
Let's talk about a couple of announcements this morning because I want to talk about LYC. We had a very good announcement. You know, I mean, this is a critical, really global player in the rare earth space, and you can see what the US is doing is they want to secure supplies, and they want to be independent of China or any other rogue state you can call right out there. So they've sort of taken LYC into the corner, saying, "Hey, come to the US, you know, we'll help you establish a presence there." And they've just given them $120 million boost to develop a heavy rare earth separation plant from their own mines and any other mines that want to contribute to this to supply the actual ore. So fantastic, Dave. You know, LYC is going places, and I say, you know, this actually pullback, it presents an opportunity. I'm hoping goes down to the $7, even $6, right? You can just pick this up with a long-term view that this is going to probably be an amazing winner.
GLH, little global health play, obviously not trending, but a few good contract wins today. ERM,
yes,
good price action, Wolf. Actually, bucking the trend and up 40.
I want to talk about this because the visuals were stunning. I haven't seen such visuals for a long time, Dave. So, you know, I'm not normally that one get excited about the visuals, but you can see like native stuff. You've got malachite in there. You can, you know, the green stuff. If you just click on the actual announcement, you can see in there.
I'll bring it
all
over.
the metals in there, like, you know, sticking out like a sore thumb. So you see the green stuff, that's malachite. So that's copper mineral. You've got other things in there, like they showed, I think, gold. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And copper as well in ironstone. I think they're talking about that. So this is quite very interesting, very, very interesting. I wonder what the actual percentages will be when they come up with essays.
All right, but you can see why the stock's having a little bit of a jump
in this market. It's amazing.
Yeah. It is. And what's the market cap of it's
let me have a quick
51 million market cap.
All right, so that's something to have at the back of your mind. If the market settle down, maybe in the next couple of days, maybe there is a quick buck to be made on this.
360.
I tell you what, I mean, let me just go back through.
I reckon this stock should be called 180 because it did more of a 180 turn up here, right?
But let me just talk quickly about the problems with companies that are not making any money, right? And this is why you should be out of all of them that are not making any money. The fact is that your access to capital will probably dry up, right? So you got very, very difficult for you to run out of cash to raise more on the market. So the cost of you raising debts will be much higher, right? So in the case of Wisers of the world, so all the funders out there, all the loan peeps out there, they're going to have trouble as well. So we can imagine, right, 360 in say 6 to 12 months time, they've got about 70 million in cash. They're going to run out of that. Do you think they can go back to the market and say, we want more, another $100 million? What the market's going to say? Right. So there's plenty of companies out there in this predicament, unfortunately. If you're still in any of these, you shouldn't be. If you're going to have any companies in your portfolio, and I've got no problems with people still having companies in portfolio because it's a long-term view. Like you see, even the World War II eventually went up, right? So yes, short-term, you're going to lose money, you're going to be feeling shit about it, and so on. But that's a part and parcel of going through a really difficult time. As long as you've got some cash on the side, you've got some quality companies, you'll be fine. It's the fact that I'm talking about the stuff that you don't want to see go bust, right? The ones that can't raise cash, losing money, even though they're still growing, they can't grow without raising cash and burning cash. So that's where I'm sort of thinking, if you're still in there, revise. You should only have companies, quality stuff. And the other thing is that if there is going to be a bounce, who drives the bounce as per usual is the top stuff, not the bottom stuff that drives the market.
Well, I think you're hitting on a very important point here, Wolf, right? We are going through very difficult times. We know that. I think there's got to be a point where you just say you've got to stay away from micro caps, definitely, and most probably a lot of small caps, unless the story is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how does that affect some of the small cap dividend plays then?
Well, you should be playing the charts. If they're breaking, you're out. It's simple as that. You're using your monthlies, you're getting out if it breaks something. This is why the technicals are there to help you make decisions, right? When to get in, when to get out. We're giving you some ideas. If it's not working because there's a market capitulation, the war is getting worse, right? Whatever the excuse might be on the market, that's your cue to.
Well, there's obviously other announcements today, like ELO and Wiser. All these money lenders are going to have tremendous problems with the cost of money going up. Stay away from these. You can see obviously Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
This guy looked like a hero only a year ago. Look at January 2021. He looked like a hero. He was buying Bitcoin left, right, and center. His strategy was to buy as much Bitcoin as he can because he was betting on Bitcoin going to $1 million, right? God, 12 months, he looks like a complete fool, unfortunately, right?
Yeah,
it just shows that even the big investors out there, the big companies can get it wrong.
Right, we got WAF. Gold hasn't really had its move, but they had some good drill results out today, Wolf. I think looks like obviously in Africa they tend to have some those drill results can be good, but they're holding up reasonably well. A few other announcements. VVA was fairly strong, but obviously we can't buy that. It's in a downturn. And again, BRI was reasonably strong, but again, obviously in this market, I would avoid buying that one as well. And again, Wolf, we're just down, aren't we? The only stocks, maybe these two in America, NOC, LMT, XTAE, we've got our war stocks. So again, I think our war stocks that you'd look at for a bit of weakness. I mean, you've got the Elders, a bit of a sell-off today, or maybe have a look at where that one is at by the end of the week. You've obviously got GNC. I think it's a bit of an opportunity day. STO looking at a little bit of opportunity today, bouncing. It's these war stocks that if you can get them on your radar, if they hit the trend line, start bouncing up again, these are the ones I think you'd be having a look at. And obviously,
great. Yeah, that's the only place I'd be looking at. Nothing else. Everything else, patience. Wait for the right moment. There's just don't catch a falling knife. It's just, that's my sort of motto right now. Is Dave? Right at the beginning we said the markets possibly can go down another 20%, 30%. So hear the warning, guys. Just be patient. If you're sitting in cash, stay there for the moment.
Well, look at that, even a little food ETF. It's not a sell yet, but even that's selling off today.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, recession, war, whatever, people still have to eat. So I mean, I'm more confident with that stuff than everything else out there. So yeah, it's falling, of course, right? The market, like I said, when there's a capitulation, your name starts with A. Everyone, doesn't matter who you are, you starts with A. You pretty much painted with the same brush.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's another stock that I'd have on my hot list, Coles.
Go on.
Look, I mean, having a little bit of a fall back down to trend line. I mean, we've always had this on a monthly.
Yep.
So any fall on Coles, as soon as you can start getting nearer that 5% div, you've got to be interested. What are they giving now, Wolf, on this, where they are now?
5%, I think. Let me just double check that. Coles. It is, yeah, exactly 5%, Dave.
That's grossed up, right?
Yep, grossed up.
Well, you've got to like that on a defensive play, haven't you?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, just to recap, two American stocks, NOC, LMT, possibly the biggest supply of weapons in the world, well worth having a look at. Little high risk play, XTE, another one sort of giving sort of in Australia, but high risk, this little small cap you could have a look at. Coles is looking good, and again, back to war stocks, have a look at them with a little bit of weakness, and start having a nibble with them. General feeling is the markets are going to go a lot lower over the next 3-4 months, 6 months. So be very, very careful. And as we said before, cash is king, and cash holding a nice big lump sum of cash over the next 6 months, one could be well rewarded. And one more thing, Wolf's got his finger up.
That is, join us because it's Tuesday. It's not a Monday today, it's a Tuesday. So please join us for Ask the Analyst tonight, where we can maybe discuss some other thing. Dave, we haven't even touched on China and Taiwan, and that was the rhetoric was starting to crank up as well over the weekend. So there's just problems everywhere. Let's not talk about that anyway. We've got more problems than we can probably deal with at the moment. So join us please tonight. We'll talk stocks.
I think we should invade New Zealand while it's all happening, and eventually
invade us instead.
Well, they would, wouldn't they? Yeah, you wouldn't mess with those Maoris. All right, on that note, thanks, Wolfie. Have a good day.
Nice.
See you. Bye-bye.